Why you shouldn't buy anything right now. Jeremy Grantham's advice. Prophecies of doom are never in short supply, but they seem more common and easier to believe when evidence of doom accumulates and becomes difficult to ignore. It's no surprise then that one widely respected veteran investment manager's warning about a super bubble is causing particular concern now, with the stock market experiencing one of its worst declines in more than a decade and embarking on a new leg down after a recovery earlier this summer. Jeremy Grantham, the co-founder of the fund management firm GMO, he's the G, has cautioned that speculation and a desire for risk have driven stock prices to heights seen only a few times in the last century. Hello everyone and welcome to another video on our channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss why you shouldn't buy anything right now. Jeremy Grantham's advice. So stay tuned to find out. Now let's start our video. The stock market's excesses, fed by the Federal Reserves and other central banks' unusually lax monetary policies, sent interest rates plummeting over a decade and flooded the global economy, with easy money accessible for speculation. Grantham stated in his article that what makes super bubbles ripe for busting is when the overvaluation caused by such excesses collides with a deterioration in economic and financial conditions. That, in his judgment, is about to happen if it hasn't already. The stock market in the United States remains highly expensive, and a spike in inflation like the one this year has always damaged price-earnings multiples, albeit more slowly than usual this time, he wrote. However, the fundamentals have begun to deteriorate dramatically and unexpectedly, with COVID in China, the war in Europe, food and energy problems, unprecedented fiscal tightening, and other factors. The future is far grimmer than predicted in January. Each cycle is unique, yet every historical parallel indicates that the worst is yet to come. He didn't give a specific estimate, but he did say that all super bubbles contain stock market drops of at least 50%. Bloomberg News, the Financial Times, the New York Post, Fortune, MarketWatch, CNBC, and other media sources far from Africa, India, Australia, and the Middle East covered Grantham's remarks extensively. The coverage was far from alarmist. There was a lot of on the one hand, on the other, but it lacked the kind of unequivocal repudiation that could be anticipated to accompany such a bold warning during more lucrative market action. The respect accorded to Grantham's forecast that the market's poor performance this year is only the beginning of a deep and prolonged downturn is due in part to the fact that Grantham has had a long, distinguished career that has been profitable for him and for investors whose money his firm has managed. This is not the first time he has expressed a strong belief that we are in a super bubble and that its deflation is imminent. But he is no perpetual bear or crackpot gold bug. In previous warnings about the dangerous speculation he witnessed on Wall Street, he acknowledged that the bubble that was forming likely had more room to inflate. If you're liking this content so far, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Now let's continue. Some doomsdayers take advantage of people's gullibility and anxiety while the iron is hot to gain attention and possibly financial reward. Others have the best of intentions. Grantham falls squarely into the second camp with compelling grounds to believe he's correct. One that, despite an almost 20% drop, the benchmark S&P 500 index remains significantly expensive, according to the Shriller price-earning ratio, which compares share prices to 10-year average inflation-adjusted earnings. The ratio was 29.9 in early September, virtually exactly where it was when the market began its crash in 1929, and greater than at any time since the 1870s, except for the dot-com boom and the current bull run. Meanwhile, economic growth and earnings prospects continue to deteriorate as the Fed raises interest rates to battle inflation. Mike Wilson, a Morgan Stanley strategist who has been uncannily correct in forecasting the market this year, recently cut his projection for S&P 500 earnings per share in 2023 by 10%. Another source of concern is Wall Street's increasingly expressed the judgment that market sentiment has reached a sour spot, the inverse of a sweet spot. Investors are repeating their selling as financial and economic conditions worsen. They appear to be coming around to the idea that the Fed is serious about hiking rates, even if economic growth and investment returns suffer. They have not, however, begun to exhibit the panic and indiscriminate, desperate selling that indicates capitulation, essentially a general acceptance that the prophets of doom are correct. Such capitulation frequently precedes long-term market bottom. JP Morgan noted the systematic character of the recent sell-off and the striking absence of anxious, turbulent trading when you begin getting calls from relatives about which assets to sell in a letter to clients. Unlike many of his rivals, Grantham is concerned with how investments will perform over the next few years rather than this quarter or tomorrow's trading session. Well, that's all for today's video. Tell us in the comments section how this one was. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing for more. And don't forget to provide us with your valuable feedback. We'll see you in the following video with some more notable celebrities, facts, and stories. And until then, stay tuned.